Hello everyone, thank you for tuning into Grand Cruise Astrology. My name is Clayton. This video is about Mercury ingress into Aries. So, this is welcome. Why? Because Mercury has been in Pisces since early February. In a general sense, this is challenging on a general level because Mercury is not comfortable in the sign of Pisces. Mercury is in its detriment in Pisces, is what astrologers call it. It just means that it has challenges expressing itself in the sign of Pisces. So Mercury went into Pisces back in early February and was there for a while. It retrograded in Pisces and then slipped back into Aquarius for about a week, and then started to move forward and move through the entire sign of Pisces. And it's just now leaving Pisces this weekend. So here we are. Mercury has ingressed into Aries now. And so whereas when it was in Pisces, it was more about how you say what you're saying. What's the meaning behind the words you're saying? How does it feel? What is the texture of the communication? That kind of thing. More Piscean and sort of that Neptunian flavor, because Neptune was also in Pisces, dissolving and giving us boundarylessness to a planet like Mercury that's left-brained and very logical and rational and reasonable and very quick-minded and objective. That energy is very contra to it, and it is very, very challenging, and it can get very confusing on a mental level. I'm sure a lot of us have felt that, like looking around us and really trying to make sense of what's happening on a mental level and not really finding that clarity. Pisces and Neptune and Pisces, it's very much about the collective. It's very much about unconditional love and putting our own left brain logic aside for the greater good of humanity at large and the downtrodden and the sick. I mean, this is very much Neptune and Pisces and Piscean energy, and Mercury's in there. It really wants to connect the dots and solve all the problems, but it's a bigger energy than that for that time period. So now Mercury's moved on to Aries, and so Aries is a very different energy. Aries is very whereas Pisces is very expansive to the point of boundlessness. Aries is very focused and one-pointed in its expression. It's very me first. It's very like it's very Aries energy likes to act first and talk later. Aries is about action. Aries is fire. Aries is passion. Aries is what you see is what you get, and there's no apologies about it. Okay, so when you got Mercury going in there, it can create a tendency for individuals to express themselves very forthright, very impulsively, very passionately, very fiery, which can be good. This isn't necessarily negative, but it just it can be very one-pointed and can get a little bit too self-involved if we're not considering others. So that's sort of the astrological advice, is to use this energy, use this passion, this fire to express whatever you feel you need to express, because a lot of us have felt very bottled up and contained and wanting to express more and say more and connect in a very fiery, passionate way, whatever that looks like, okay? But the caveat to that, the astrological caution, is just to be aware of the larger community and the people around you, and be more cognizant of the bigger picture. Because there's going to be a temptation to want to speak without thinking, or speak before you think, and just say it and just let it all out there. But what can happen with this is that you do that, you say what you feel you need to say, what you need to get out, and without giving it much thought or much context, then you can really very quickly find yourself backed into your corner and trying to fight your way out of it. Okay, it's a very kind of feisty energy. It can be a little bit confrontational. So you can really save a lot of energy for yourself if you channel it in a constructive way. Um, so that's sort of the goal here with this. Now, um, there is making aspects when it first goes into Aries, which it has done and is doing on about April 12th, 13th, right there at the beginning. It's going to be in a sextile aspect to Saturn. Sextile aspect is a 60-degree aspect, and it's considered positive by astrologers. It denotes two energies that are connected and are there to use if you so choose. The energies require effort in order to create any outcome, however. So unlike a trine aspect, which is just energy flowing in and everything is nice and easy and you don't really have to do much with it, when two planets are sextile, their energy is there to use, but it requires effort. So talking about Mercury in Aries and Saturn in Aquarius, sextile. What does that mean? What does it look like? How can we use it? So, Mercury in Aries, again, this individual, forthright. It can be kind of a leadership energy. It's very solo focused. It kind of a trailblazer kind of energy. Okay, so but when it's sextile to Saturn in Aquarius, this can be a really good tempering energy for that. What I was talking about with the danger, with just getting kind of narrowly focused and all about self. When it's sextile to Saturn in Aquarius, Aquarius is a very group oriented energy. Aquarius only accounts for the group. There is no individual acceptance without it accounting for the group. You don't see individuals that don't account for a larger group. They don't matter. So when you have Saturn there, bringing its energy of discipline, its energy of consideration and consequence and caution. It's kind of a red light. It says think before you act, and be very, very conscious and cognizant of all involved. Okay, and when it's matching up with this Mercury energy, we can say what we need to say in terms of self-expression and expressing what we need to say as an individual, what we need to get across as an individual, and yet accounting for a larger container that we're within. All right, because Saturn is in Aquarius, it's been in Aquarius and will be in Aquarius for a while. It's going to backtrack into Capricorn and then go back into Aquarius. Long story short, Saturn is building a larger group container structure that we're going to be functioning within. This work has already started. The groundwork is already starting to be laid for it. So this is a longer term process. So when this energy is sextile to Mercury in Aries, it's almost like we're in a window where there's going to be room for individual expression within this container to create some very positive outcomes. So we have about 10 days of this. Well, it's just a couple of days when it's sextile to Saturn. So right there at the beginning, it's going to be a really solid foundation for us to really build something on with our communications, with our mercurial activities that have to do with communication, multitasking, whatever we need to arrange in our world in whatever way we need to on an individual level, while at the same time accounting for the larger group. This first couple of days, the 12th, 13th, is going to be a great time to do it. Then it moves on in Aries, and then once we get into the next weekend of the 18th, 19th, Mercury is going to go sextile to Mars. And so this is a little different. So Mars is also in Aquarius. So there's still a very physical energy that it's accounting for the group. So that much is true. However, Mars is the ruler of Aries. So whereas when it was in Saturn was sextile to Mercury in Aries, with Mars sextile to Mercury in Aries, this individual expression, this passion, it's going to carry the day. That's the energy that is going to be stronger. So it's like we're starting off with Mercury Ingress in Aries, and we're starting off with more ac- accounting for group. It's less about me first. It's sort of like coming out of the shell very gingerly and accounting for all involved. And once we get more into the next weekend, there's going to be more individual drive. When we're talking about Mars, it's a very physical energy, so physical expression. We may be wanting to connect with people out on the trail or connect with people in some kind of outdoor activity or in some kind of physical way. So use your imagination on what that means for you. Okay. But, it could just be even dancing by yourself in your living room if you're, you know, practicing social distancing. But there's uh, going to be a desire, going to be an opportunity to express this energy in a very constructive way with the sextile there from Mercury to Mars. So again, this time period, especially right around the 12th, 13th, um, and even going on until we get to the next weekend, there's about a 7-10 day period here. Great time to put out a message that involves group, whether that's putting out a newsletter, putting out a YouTube video. If there's something individual or personal self-expression that you are wanting to connect with in a larger capacity, to a larger group environment, now is going to be a great time to do that. Okay, so that's pretty much what I have for Mercury ingress into Aries. Now, um, yeah, once we get into the next week, once we get to 22nd, 23rd, we're dealing with a new moon, and we're going to have some new energies around that time. They're a little more challenging, a little different. So I'll make another video for that. But no worries. I mean, that energy is, as far as the challenge, is a little bit more normalized than what we've been dealing with. So hopefully, that's how we experience it. It's not going to be quite as dramatic or intense as what we've been dealing with these last few weeks. So again, I'll make another video when we get to that. I have made on Vimeo, I've made some educational content that's on my website, all free content, all just educational. So it's less about current events and more about astrology itself and what some of these planets mean. I'm going to make a video about the signs and the houses and just, to give a little bit of context and perspective around some of these terms I throw around. So that's on my website, Grand Cruise Astrology. You can connect to that. I believe the website is on my YouTube channel. So if you see it there, click on that. That'll take you to the website. Yeah, and so there it is. That's what I got. I'll be making more videos, so stay tuned. Glad you could join me, and I'll see you on another video. Bye.